origins back in the old school arcade days.
Donkey Kong, one of Nintendo's oldest franchises. Shit, I think it's the first franchise they ever created. Maybe you can make the argument for Game & Watch since that predates Donkey Kong by about a year, but I still like to consider Donkey Kong where Nintendo really got their start in the video game market. If you could believe it, it's also one of the first platform games ever created, but we just call them platformers now. Yeah, without this, God knows how long it would have been before we got Atari's Pitfall. We certainly wouldn't have gotten Super Mario Brothers. Donkey Kong and its success would set the foundation for Nintendo to finally have a leg in video game sales, and eventually the console scene, leading to the Famicom Disk System in 1983 and the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1985. I'd say that more than qualifies to have the accolade of being one of the most important video games ever created, and to think Nintendo was just trying to finally break into international markets and replicate the success of Pac-Man since in the early 80s, that was the game to beat. They tried before a couple of times, the last attempt being Radar Scope, a space shooter, but that failed to catch the eye of the public and was a commercial failure.
Actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of an interesting question, isn't it? Could you get away with saying that Radar Scope is more significant than Donkey Kong, since without Radar Scope failing, Nintendo would have never greenlit Donkey Kong in the first place? A real chicken or the egg scenario. God, I missed the Radar.
Drawing inspiration from Popeye, Beauty and the Beast, and of course King Kong, small indie developer Shigeru Miyamoto, along with his small indie developer buddy Company would create Donkey Kong for the arcades in 1981. From what I gathered, it's the first game Shigeru Miyamoto ever designed and directed, as he was only an artist for Nintendo beforehand, creating art for the 1979 Sheriff. You know, that one really fucking annoying assist trophy in Smash Brothers, and he also made one for Radar Scope. That's twice I mentioned Radar Scope. Watch me, I'm gonna end up reviewing Radar Scope in this Donkey Kong marathon. I can feel it in my bones. Miyamoto would also create the key art and sprite work for Donkey Kong as well, and whew, damn, Mario's and the official arcade art, though I don't know, like I know it's partly Popeye inspired, but Mario's design sort of elicits a racist uncle energy. Mario in the original game, right? No, he was Jumpman, as in fucking Jumpman! He would lose that moniker pretty quick though. By Donkey Kong Jr. released a year later, he would officially be called Mario. Donkey Kong, though. Okay, I get the Kong part, and apparently sort of universal because, fun fact, they tried to sue Nintendo for copyright infringement because of Donkey Kong's name, a lawsuit they would ultimately lose. But Miyamoto seriously did a deep, contemplative stare at this sketch of a gorilla he made, looked at it really hard, and just said, so yeah, his first name is Donkey? I heard
Eventually settled on Donkey Kong for the name. Mistranslation, a faulty fax machine. But apparently Miyamoto just wanted to convey the image of a stubborn, stupid ape, saw the word donkey and said, okay, that is good enough, that'll suffice. Donkey Kong. The girl's name in the original was just Lady, though. These motherfuckers spent all their brain cells on naming Donkey Kong. They said, oh, fuck it, just call the Lady Lady. She would not get the Pauline moniker until the game was officially translated for the West.
And there you go, the main cast. And the game itself, Donkey Kong, is, well, it's early 80s arcade stuff. And I'm going to be spending most of these visits on the original arcade releases, courtesy of the Nintendo Switch, when they aren't continuously blueballing us with their impressive commitment to the drip feed. Make no mistake though, Donkey Kong was fucking everywhere when it was new. You might be aware of the original arcade release and the NES version, that's the one I played the most of the original 1981 game. But you gotta think, 1981, there weren't any Nintendo consoles back then unless you want to count the Game & Watch electronic handheld. So Donkey Kong was licensed out to a whole bunch of other consoles in the market before that whole small crash of 1983 happened. Donkey Kong and the ColecoVision, Mario looks like a porn star here. Donkey Kong, okay, now, this Mario looks like a porn star. Donkey Kong and the Atari 26, Christ alive, this one's not even close. Who are these guys? Why is Mario a clown? And this is just official releases too, because Donkey Kong, holy shit, would be the prime target for copycats and bootlegs throughout the next few years. Killer Gorilla, Congo Bongo, Crazy Kong, Wally Kong, King Kong. Oh really, they just fucking called it King Kong.
It's such a weird fucking time for video games. Thank God Atari brought the purge.
In 1981, this game was considered incredible, and it got a ton of merchandise too, like a short cartoon run from Ruby Spirits. Oh, why is he riding the scooter? There was also a branded cereal, but I don't know, you look at that kid's grimace and tell me that he's actually doing that shit. I'm pretty sure some of you who watch the Angry Video Game Nerd are also aware of the Donkey Kong doll with the weird fingers.
Hey, you, fuck you.
Donkey Kong put Nintendo on the map, helped them get out of their financial troubles, and would set the precedent for Nintendo's endeavors moving forward. Today, though, it's a 1981 arcade game, and what were most, if not all, those kind of games? Then score attack ROMs that were over in about 10 minutes if you had some semblance of skill. That said, this game can still kick your ass. Firstly, it's weird going back to this if you played Super Mario Bros. Shit, even the original 1983 Mario Bros. Beforehand, because Jumpman ain't Mario. I mean, he is, but you know what I mean, kiss my ass. He's got the jumping part down, sure, but he's packing a lot of weight and he doesn't go very high. He also can't fall more than his body height or else he just dies.
What a bitch. I can do that just fine.
Don't think you can just jump that shit. You gotta grab this hammer. For the last few seconds, the supply of barrels that DK constantly chucks at you. Your goal, besides racking up a high enough score to put your initials in, I am John Poo Ass, you're trying to rescue your girlfriend from the clutches of Donkey Kong, who sits high atop of the stage, and your ass has got to climb all the way up to the top to finish the level. Everything kills you in one hit, you can't fall far, and you can't defend yourself besides the occasional hammer. It's a test of reflexes, as you do your damnedest to avoid all the barrels, the fireballs, and the pies, all that shit that's thrown at you. The challenge is simple, as the game makes clear from the get-go. How high can you get?
Very.
This game's a classic, and its legacy cannot be overstated. But I don't go back to this for classic Donkey Kong. Well, firstly, it's short as shit, I said that before. This isn't something I can exactly sink my teeth into unless I'm trying to get a higher score, which I don't really care for. And secondly, I'm absolute trash at this game. I can't get over the stiff control and how easy it is for Jumpman to die at this. Okay, that wasn't my fault. How was I supposed to know that barrel was going to have a baby right then and there? Speaking of children, apparently Donkey Kong fucked someone to produce a child, because in 1982 we got Donkey Kong Jr. Don't get used to seeing this kid a bunch, though, for he'll quickly become the red-headed stepchild of Nintendo characters throughout the next couple of decades, the poor fuck. Donkey Kong Jr. sees you in control of the titular character, as Daddy has been captured and jailed by Mario, who gets one game and he's already the villain in the next one. What the fuck? There's also two Marios here. One of them supposed to be Luigi, or can this supposed carpenter fucking duplicate himself on command? You fascinate me, Mario Joe. I also don't think I've ever played a game before where the first sound you hear is someone quietly ripping ass. Anyway, I don't like this game being real. You're not so much jumping over barrels, but climbing vines, avoiding alligator heads, and birds dropping things and being real pricks. You could drop things like coconuts on enemies, like one or two times, but most times you're just avoiding contact entirely, which is not the easiest thing to do since Junior's control is about as stiff as Mario's from the previous game. It's very easy to bite it here, and there's only so much I can take before I want to move on. It took me so long just to complete one loop. You push these keys in, you save your dad, you jump away. Apparently Mario's learned how to take a fall since the last game, so good for him. But he gets fucking rocked by Donkey Kong so hard that in the next game, Mario's nowhere to be seen. Donkey Kong 3, starring Stanley the Bugman. Was my first Donkey Kong game. I played the NES version way back in 1992. I don't remember much of my experience with it, but it did make me aware of the Donkey Kong brand. Enough that I would pick up the first Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo in 1994, so yeah, I guess I have Donkey Kong 3 to thank for that. It's considerably different from the last two games, though. It's not a platformer, it's sort of space shooter. Maybe Nintendo was feeling better with Radar Scope's failure. Donkey Kong has decided to take refuge in Stanley's greenhouse, and he's causing the insects inside to go apeshit and mess with Stanley's crops. So you take your bug spray and literally blow smoke up Donkey Kong's ass to keep him at bay. You also need to keep the insects from stealing your crops, otherwise it's game over and you don't get a high score. And just like Mario 2, Stanley can't take a hit. He gets touched once and he's down for the count. The insects just fucking ate the man alive. What the hell? That's such a cruel fate. Maybe this is why Stanley only showed up for one game. But there is a special canister you can grab that powers up your bug spray so much that insects don't stand a chance, and it scares Donkey Kong shitless. If you don't care about your score, you can end the stage in just a few seconds. But if you're doing it, there are only about 3 stages too, so it won't take you long to finish a loop. I have some nostalgia for this game, but even though it was my first, I wouldn't consider it my favorite classic Donkey Kong game. No, that honor will go to this baby. This is Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, though we call it Donkey Kong 94 to help separate it from the original game, and because it was released in 1994. This was the first game to utilize the Super Nintendo's Super Game Boy add-on. You don't need the Super Game Boy to play this, I sure as shit didn't when I first played it, but if you do, you get an enhanced color palette and this nifty arcade cabinet skin. Whatever you decide to do, you're in for a good time. This is both one of my favorite Donkey Kong games and one of my favorite games on the Game Boy. Though it starts off very similar to the 1981 original, after you seemingly rescue Pauline, Donkey Kong goes, man, that shit didn't count, and then grabs Pauline again, and before Mario knows it, he's in for a much larger adventure. More levels, more obstacles, and more Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong 94 is the original Donkey Kong with added bells and whistles and a shitload of stages. I have to stress that again. I think it's a total of 101. That sounds like a lot, and it is, but most stages are bite-sized challenges that shouldn't take you more than a minute or so to clear. More emphasis on puzzle solving too. You got your boss stages where you're facing off against Donkey Kong directly as you try to save your girlfriend, but most stages involve you trying to take this key to the appropriate door that leads to the next level. It's a game that in some way tries to combine classic Donkey Kong with Mario Brothers, given how you can grab things like in Mario Brothers 2 to chuck at things, and how Mario's athleticism is a caliber above his older days. He can fall farther distances before he loses a life, he can grab a hammer and then toss it up and then grab it again when you need to use it in a higher area, and like an absolute show-off, he can do a combination of handstand jumps, backflips, and other means of acrobatics that I'm sure makes Donkey Kong go,
Oh shit.
Mario still got something on his feet though, so I wouldn't say the controls as tight as Super Mario Brothers, but it is miles better than the original game. You just gotta be careful with how you position yourself in small platforms. And though Mario can fall more than 3 inches without dying in this game, after falling enough height, he'll do this sort of tumble roll that can easily fuck you over if you're not careful with your positioning. Mario's got the skills, but you still don't want to get overzealous. Unless you want to try and make last-second saves with the trampoline here, holy shit. Or somehow manage to tap into Ultra Instinct and do bullshit like this. Personality. Like the original game had a sense of whimsy, it was a big point of the original game's design to use sprite work that could convey emotion and comprehensible character design. But I love the added comedic value of this iteration. How after every boss fight, you get this intermission witnessing Donkey Kong repeatedly trying and failing to keep Mario away. It's one part entertainment, but it also serves as a tutorial for extra things Mario can do to help complete the coming stages, like performing the added jumps, or how you can bounce barrels harmlessly off of your feet, or being able to survive lava flow. Awesome.
So that was a fucking lie.
I've been playing this since middle school, and I'll tell you, middle school John wasn't that big on platformers. He was also kind of a fucking idiot. So if this game can grab my attention, then I think it's safe to say that this is the keeper. Every run is just as much fun as the last. If you're ever in the market for quality, classic Donkey Kong, this right here is the King of the Kongs. Universal, please don't sue me. Or do, you lost the first attempt you chose. The number of levels may seem daunting, but I promise you this game's gonna blow by. The difficulty is just right. A lot of stages are brain ticklers, but with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, this game never gets overly complicated. And I mean, the game fucking showers you with so many extra lives anyway that you will never ever see a game over. So try and get it on the eShop when you can, before that whole store closes down for good. Otherwise, you'll have to emulate it or spend an exuberant price on an original copy from a stingy TooManyGames vendor. Hi, TooManyGames, thanks for being on the panel. I love you. Well, that all wraps up for the classic Donkey Kong series. Next up, we're going to start the Country series proper with a look at the very first Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo. As always, thank you all for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask if you decide to go outside, especially if you're attending a convention. I see you without the mask on, Jeff. Put the fucking mask on. Have yourselves a fantastic day. Take care.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like a nice little I appreciate that. Nice little appetizer before I get into like the real meat and potatoes of the Country series. I think everybody here has probably started with the Country series proper. That should be pretty fun because that marathon is going to be, oh my god. So just to get you guys up to speed with what the marathon is going to entail, because I'm not going to be covering all the spin-offs obviously. So like maybe not Donkey Kong will be. Those are for later. The Country series is a shoe-in. The 64 video. So I never played Donkey Kong 64, but I do know that it is notorious for its 100% completion. That review is going to be 100% completion. The question is, because that video is going to be about the journey, not so much this fucking sucks. Will it overtake Sonic 06 and Final Fantasy 6? That's my longest video.
If you want to.
On top of the collectibles, that game is also like at 5 characters, I think. And I gotta talk about them all. I gotta talk about the monkeys with the guns. Oh, 101%. I'm sorry. So stupid. Yeah. Yeah. All right, but I do have some prizes to give away. We're going to be doing a trivia contest, focusing on Donkey Kong. Although my video did give away the answer for one of those, if you're paying attention. So I realized I'm an idiot. So how this is going to work is I'm going to ask a question. If you know the answer, or raise a hand. I'll pick one. Please do not shout the answer out loud. Don't be that dickhead. And yeah, so I have 3 $20 Nintendo eShop gift cards, and I have 2 $20 Steam gift cards for the summer sale that's happening right now. So let me get my things ready here. I think it's No. I just. Oh, but I see the answer. Yeah. Okay. So, question number 1. If DK remains idle long enough, then Donkey Kong Country returns 3D. What does he do? You in the loser. Yes, that's correct. Okay. Before Super Mario Galaxy, which Donkey Kong title would Nintendo EAD Tokyo be responsible for creating? You all the way in the back. The black mask. Yes.
Jungle Beat.
Yes, that's correct. Not like animosity clap was like, you fucking son. That answer is mine! All right, so, Pauline, what game did Pauline make her return in after her last appearance in Donkey Kong 94? Blue shirt doggy on your back. Yeah. Can you be more specific? That's right. I was hoping to get it wrong. Alright, so the eShop cards are going on like a Steam. Just Alright, so this one should be a gimme. But what was Jumpman's original profession? Nice. You in the green shirt. Yes. Yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. Alright, the last one for the gimmies, because I didn't want to challenge you guys too much. You know, it's actually really hard to find Donkey Kong trivia, because a lot of it covers the shit everybody already knows. No,
Ask about the cartoon.
fuck you. Alright, so what was the max completion percentage for Donkey Kong Country, the original Donkey Kong Country? It's not. Sorry. You holding up the hat all the way in the back.
8.
Yes, you.
101%.
That's true, yes. Alright, that's it for the trivia contest. Seeing that we still have about 35 minutes left, we're going to just make the rest of this Q&A. Just, if you guys want to line up here and ask a question. All I ask is that you keep it to one question, please. One question, please. And if it's about asking me to review something eventually. to reiterate again, after this panel is over, I will be at my autograph booth. So if you want to ask me a question you can't hear, you can always ask it there. And if you want me to sign something or look at something, you can look at that is after this panel. There we go.
There.
Awesome.
All right. My question is, in all this various Sonic media, like the comics, the shows, the games, which do you think is the most evil Robotnik?
The most evil Robotnik?
Yeah, the one that's like the most vile.
Probably Sad AM. Sad AM rendition because it was just the evil one that didn't care about the environment. Like obviously, like Sonic I know. Robotnik's intent for polluting the environment was insane. And then Archie comics to an extent because Archie Eggman was a real ass. Like it was a real ass.
Actually, somebody sent me a panel. Fleetly Robotnik over in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
He's pretty evil too.
Yeah, I know how to say it, but I'm American, so I don't care. Thank you for the text me. I didn't know that. You're wearing the Garfield Neon Genesis.
Wearing the Garfield. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So, we all know that what your favorite Final Fantasy villain is. So, what is your least favorite or most disliked Final Fantasy villain? There's like a lot of discourse.
From what I've played, I would say probably Untitled because when folks bring reference to that, they're most likely talking about the city of and it's like cool, but that the word OG2, he's a piece of work. Like he's just a cackling evil conqueror, and there's menace in that because he's very direct and like no shit. I'll give Mateus one thing, his body can stay out. Like he's very no nonsense, but there's also nothing in that. He might as well just be a bottomless void that just kills everything he sees. But there's not much to go off from that. So I would say in terms of like the most, at least interesting villain, Mateus is.
He's pretty good in the novel.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah, there was a novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. I have to read that.
That's actually what the name is. Mateus.
They don't call him Mateus in the game, do they?
No,
They just call him the Emperor.
Yeah. They call him
Yeah,
the Emperor.
that's so weird. Okay, I'll take one. What's up here?
What's your opinion on Sonic Origins?
Origins?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and CD. Like, we're talking like the collective package. It's okay. We were talking about, like, we had a question yesterday, like, what my favorite Sonic compilations were, and I still said Jam, like, on the Sega Saturn. But Origins is still significant because it's the first time the taxon versions of Sonic 1 and 2 got a console release. And we've wanted that for, like, over nearly 10 years at this point. We finally got them. Now, it's not perfect. There's still some bugs to work around. And Sonic 3 is, has to change the music and all this sort of shit, and the lost Sonic 4 track for the Supersonic Wave. But it's still fundamentally the same games with widescreen, little nifty features, and that's really all I can really ask for. So I'm really hoping it sells pretty well, so that Sega can take the wrong message and greenlight another fucking shitty Sonic game. Yeah, okay. Yeah, hopefully. Thank you. Yeah, why are you holding your shoe?
So I took off my shoes so I could to get my attention with the trivia.
Oh, okay. You can put your shoe back on.
Things to put back on, so I kind of just screw it.
Yeah. What was your question?
When's the Final Fantasy 8 review?
And the 8 review. Okay, so
it's good.
I
say it's good.
I am going to kiss my ass. I will say this. So the Final Fantasy videos, I kind of do like 3 per visit because playing all through them in a row is fucking exhausting. Especially now that I'm getting to the PlayStation era Final Fantasies. And I don't know if you saw the last 2 videos, 6 and 7, really long videos. They were fun to make though, because I love those games. Starting with 8 though, at the struggle, because 8 is a game I've put down a lot throughout the years of playing it. And I know that won't be the case for this video, not because I have to finish it for the review, but because I have a lot more baggage now than I do when I originally played. So the only thing I can say is watch for the Brave Friends and Musashi. Because that is when you know that 8 is coming immediately after. Because it kind of leads into, there's no fucking way I'm doing 8 without doing Brave Friends of Musashi. Because that's the only reason people got that game was because they came with the Final Fantasy VIII demo disc. So it's like, that's messed up. So I'm going to bring awareness to that game, and you guys will never be able to play it because it goes for really high prices at TooManyGames. And I don't think it ever got a digital release in America, only in Japan, which is stupid. So just wait for the Brave Friends of Musashi video. They don't know that needs to be in there.
Do you like Laguna lore at least?
Do I like what?
Laguna?
Laguna? Oh, the
Hey,
character?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't wait until later.
Okay.
Yeah. Put your shoe on.
Hello. So I was wondering, since you're talking about the Donkey Kong Country games, are you ever going to look at the Donkey Kong Country cartoon? Because that is weird.
The CG.
Yeah, the late 90s one.
So, I caught a few episodes growing up because it was, I don't remember what channel it was on in America anyways.
Yeah, because the
It
only
was
one.
it was a Canadian cartoon, wasn't it?
Yeah, Canadian animated.
Yeah. So there was like this circle that you like if you knew because I loved watching Reboot. And that was a great show. So I think it was like around the same time that show was going on, but it's like, what the fuck is this? So maybe. Like I'll make a passing reference to it, but I won't like make a dedicated video on it.
Gotcha.
Because I don't normally review TV series, not yet. But and it won't be done, I'm gonna be something. But I'm definitely gonna make time to it. 'Cause that goes into like the success of Donkey Kong.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Yeah, let's go.
All right. So we saw in the video you one up the Jumpman on the arcade with the fall. Do you think you could one up Mario and Donkey Kong 94 with his front and back flips?
What the fuck? Like reenact it? Just fucking like I'll just the only I'll jump off at the top. That was actually a joke I was gonna use, like the dual flip in Spider-Man. I just totally fucking blanked on it. Like I do that a lot too because sometimes when I'm playing a game and I'm writing notes down, like a joke will pop in my head for something to do, and I remember thinking like I should reference the Spider-Man Homecoming with like Mario. I was like I'm gonna do that, and I don't do it. It's like, well, all right, well, I'll just fucking jump off the bandage on myself. But it actually did kind of hurt my knee because I landed a little awkwardly. So, but to one up myself, I guess, for 94, like to fall like 3 times that length. After I trained to become a professional wrestler, catch me like diving off the hell on the side. How's it going, man?
As someone who was a fan of DK64s, that was my introduction to Donkey Kong.
Right.
Gotta say, looking forward to that video a lot. Just a small warning, you're going to have to beat original Donkey Kong twice to complete it.
I mean, I've done that before, so it's not.
It drove me nuts at 8 years old.
It'd be worse if it was like Donkey Kong.
Oh, I 100% agree. But as for my question, would you ever consider doing a marathon on the Yakuza series?
That's always an eventually because I plan on doing this until the day I die, or until I hit the lottery. But so I want to tackle Yakuza, but I'm not sure about a marathon because those games are really long. If I would do it the same way as Final Fantasy, like I'll maybe look at 1 or 2 and then take a break, and then look at other ones. But I get a lot of requests for Yakuza. A lot of stuff outside of the which surprised me because I thought like people just walk for something. Yeah. Thank you, Robert.
Hey.
Yeah,
So I know this kind of like does go into that whole category of like review in the future, but I'm genuinely curious because it is kind of like flying under people's radar for obvious reasons. And because you did do a video on the first one, are you planning to look at Overwatch 2? And if so, would it count as a round 2 or a normal? Because it's an update, but also
I know
not.
I get what you mean. So I don't know. Like, I think everybody but with Overwatch specifically because Activision did it,
Right.
That sort of thing. It's that caveat is gonna linger in my head for like all of eternity until things like 180, which is not looking like it's gonna be the case at all. It's kind of like I probably won't make a video on it. It's
Okay.
one of those things where I'll probably play in secret.
Okay.
Like with a sock puppet account. And then I'll feign ignorance on Twitter. Like, this looks a lot like you. No, it's not me. It's Juan Ortiz.
Right. It's not Johnny. All right. Thank you.
No problem.
Hello.
Are you Enter the Dragon? Or is it
I messed up my cosplay, I will say that.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's supposed to be a lot, it's a
Was
long
it Game of Death? No, but that was a reference to the Bruce Lee movie.
It's a long story of what happened.
Okay. Okay.
But do you want the funny question or the serious question?
Well, which one do you think is better? Well, because so it's one question at a time. You can ask me the serious question over the other.
I'll give you the funny one.
Okay. This better rock my socks.
Can you name my Ditto in Pokemon Go?
Can I name your Ditto in Pokemon Go?
Yes, I just called.
Dildo. Commit to that. Tag me on Twitter. I want to see that dildo. Hey, how's it going?
Hi. So my question is, what is the most difficult aspect of creating your reviews?
No, legit writing scripts. Because I went going to school, everyone goes to English classes, writing essays, that sort of shit. I grew up with like, I'm never doing this again the rest of my life. So anyway, I make YouTube videos for a living. But writing scripts, like, recording a game is easy, unless it's a bad game and it's a struggle. Writing notes is easy. Putting everything together to make a comprehensive list of thoughts is the real challenge. And then you get writer's block. If you don't get a good night's sleep beforehand, you don't have the energy for it. And it's like, oh God, all right, I guess I'm going on 14 again. 14 because I can't think. But yeah, writing scripts is the most hardest part. Because I love editing. I love compositing. I love all that shit. Yeah, editing is like the best part, I think. Because everything's already together. Like, I already got the script recorded. I know exactly what I want to say. I know exactly what I want to do. So putting it all, it's like a jigsaw. You know, it's like putting it all together. I got my podcast on standby. I got my music on standby. I am vibing for like 8 to 10 hours on that computer just getting the thing live. But writing that script, but yeah. No problem. Yeah, let's go.
Which is better, burgers or pizza?
Burgers and pizza. But without popping out, I'd probably say pizza.
With that logic.
Because, you know, unless you're getting like Chicago deep dish, which is not a pizza, it's really hard to fuck up pizza. Like, in my opinion. Although I've had some really bad pizzas.
Pineapple?
That's not the question. Don't change the subject. I would say pizza. Definitely. How's it going?
It's going good. I was wondering, what would you say is the best deal for a game you've gotten at a convention?
The best deal I got out of a convention?
For a game.
For a game. Oh, man. So for a convention, the answer is nothing. Because I always pay up the ass for something because everybody here knows what they got. And if not, they will price match by going on their phone and say, all right, let me see what this costs. Like, fuck you. Like, just give me, please think it costs. Like, just give me that. The day of the mom and pop store is over. You're not going to be able to go to any sort of like small local game store and get something for very cheap. Those days are over. Everybody's got internet connection. Those days are over. So at a convention, the answer is never. The best deal for a video game period I ever got, because I love this story, is when it was like 2003, I think it was. When did Sonic Adventure DX come out? 2003? Right. So it wasn't that. It was like maybe a year or two afterwards. I went to a GameStop and I had a few extra bucks to get it, and it was like only $14. It was player's choice. I went to go ring myself up, and the cashier, I'm guessing, was a new employee, younger than me at the very least, and he asked for my Power Awards card, whatever the hell it was called back then. I gave him the card. I gave him the card. He swipes it because you're supposed to get the rewards and all sort of thing. He gives me the card back, hands me the game, and then tells me to go. I'm assuming two things. One, the game is cursed. Or two, the kid didn't realize he didn't swipe my credit card. He just swiped the Power Award and thought the transaction was through. So I got a free copy of Sonic Adventure DX, like on the GameCube. And I haven't been the same since. So hopefully that answers your question. It's still too much for her. How's it going?
Doing good.
Pretty good.
So for the, what's it, 500K Persona?
Yeah.
Are you gonna do all those games like back to back, or you're gonna do like Final Fantasy, or you're gonna do
If I
some
actually
time?
like, all right, so legit, to get up to speed, I promise that if I break 500,000 subs when that happens 10 years from now, I will do the Persona series. Like I will legit spend time doing the Persona series. And because that is a milestone celebration, I would do all of them. Now here's the thing. I wouldn't wait until I actually broke 500K to start recording the fucking games. Like you pay attention to your analytics, and if you see a rising trend, it's like, oh, I'm on the cusp of breaking this thing. I better get started on that now. That'd be the smart thing to do. But Persona games are long. They are really long. Like maybe like Persona 1 and 2 are pretty standard length from what I'm used to for an RPG. But once you get to 3, like I see these averages. My girlfriend Nora plays Persona 3 and 4 and 5, and she clocks in like 90 fucking hours just doing the regular shit.
Yeah, that's
so it's like that's Dragon Quest 8 bad. And so obviously with those kind of videos, you gotta plan well in advance to make consistent scheduled releases for those because my god. But you know, I've played long games before for the channel. I played Dark Souls. I played Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. How do you like a 57-hour long Metal Gear game with little story? So if I got enough prep, and obviously like when I continue the Final Fantasy stuff, when I get to 14, that's an MMO, and I'm making videos for each expansion. So that's if anything, that's a teaser. So, but when I get to it, it will be all in a row. Because right now I only have to worry about 5 games, right? 6, because 2 is a duology.
Yes.
No spin, no.
What is wrong?
But it'll be all in a row. It'll be all in a row. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Hi.
How's it going?
So I was wondering when, no, sorry. What are your thoughts on Sonic Frontiers so far?
Yeah. So I don't hate Sonic Frontiers. I'm feeling very ambivalent towards it. Let's put it this way, about the same as Forces. You know, even though like there are ideas, there are promises. A lot of Sonic games promise stuff and then dash my hopes. Or the very worst, don't do any of that and just, it's another Sonic game, you know? Right now I'm at a point where I'm just angry at, not angry, but it's like I'm laughing at Sega's face about their incompetence of promoting this game. Because we were talking about this yesterday, but like the IGN teasers. You know, I know like the joke was like Predator IGN, but Sega provided them these clips. IGN just had the privilege of being the first to show them. So, and then a week later, Sega shows off a much better look at Frontiers. Like gets people excited, but it's also like, you guys are incompetent as shit. Like so much. So it's like, I'm gonna get this game, but I don't want to get it out of obligation. Like as a Sonic fan and as a content creator, I want to look forward to it. But right now, I have little reason to. You know, because I play a lot of games. Sonic in a Breath of the Wild-esque feel is not enough. You know, I need to see more. I need to be excited for this. What am I doing in this world? Why am I doing this? They haven't answered that question for me yet. But it's still pretty early. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah,
thank you.
No problem.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah.
I have 2 questions you can choose from. One's a joke question, and one's a question probably the audience wants to know.
It's like Solomon's riddle or some other
Yeah.
shit. What happens when the unstoppable force meets the immovable object?
Something similar.
Okay, yeah.
Out of all the games you have, all the games you've played, all the games you've played on for videos and stuff, or off, what is your guilty pleasure game of a game that you really enjoy that everyone knows hates that you're embarrassed to say you like it?
Well, no, it's not just that's like the worst kept secret at this point. But no, not Mystic Quest. Mystic Quest 4000. I'm sorry. Yeah, you should. No. Yeah, Sonic Adventure. Parts of Sonic Adventure. But no, And for a while, with no,
It's too easy,
That game,
Sonic.
that's the problem. It's too easy with Sonic, because I can maybe say 3 or 4 that I like and people don't like. But that's Sonic in a nutshell, you know. And there's one thing I love is Sonic discourse on social media. Honestly, I can't really say what, because I generally don't keep things to myself when it comes to my love of video games. You know, it's like people know that I like parts of this game. People know that I like parts of that game. And if it's gonna be any game, fucking we're talking about Overwatch. Like it's like he's actually playing Overwatch too after all the Activision players. So it's like if I actually were playing that game and I really enjoyed it, it's like that's one of those I keep to myself. You know, because I don't like at the end of the day I don't need. I'm like obviously like as a content creator, like I push like my social media sites and all sorts of things for updates. But anyone that follows my social media though, I'm a very private person. I don't feel the need to share every little thing that I do, every little thing that I play, because I don't. It's exhausting. You know, I see a lot of my mutuals who are every day posting banger tweets like left and right. And it's like, damn, good for you guys. But it's also like, holy shit, I cannot convince that. That sounds exhausting.
That's why I want to peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, it's like yeah, exactly. But so it'd probably be something that maybe had like a very troubled development, and I'm not helping by giving money, sort of thing. So that was probably the best way I can answer that.
All right, thank you.
No, not really.
I'm not as connected to it, but I have a good fascination with Sonic Heroes.
Right.
Even though I know the community and everyone kind of just.
Well, which version?
The
Say it.
GameCube one.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Anybody that likes PS2 Sonic Heroes more than anything else, you're just wrong.
Hey, it has the soundtrack, so.
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Hello, John.
Hey, what's going on?
So-
Your Naruto script is a fucking shut. It's reaching out for me.
So, if you could choose to have a video game as 2 video game franchises do a crossover, whether fan-made or official, what would you pick?
Mega Man and Sonic.
Mega Man Sonic?
Yes. So, I will forever be, pardon the wordplay, blue-balled by how Mega Man Archie just ends. Mega Man Archie was so fucking incredible for the series, and then the Archie shit happened, and it had to get canceled essentially. Before that, we had Worlds Collide, the crossover between Mega Man and Sonic, and that was a really fun crossover. Worlds Unite, not so much, because that one was just, hey, recognize this Capcom character for one panel and then they go off. You know, so, you know, it's whatever. But Worlds Collide was a genuinely good, well-written crossover between Mega Man and Sonic. So I would love to see that translated to a video game. It probably won't ever happen, because it requires Sonic Team to give a shit and for Capcom to start making Mega Man games, you know? But hypothetically, I would like to see a Sonic Mega Man crossover.
Sega vs. Capcom.
That happened already, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
No, it didn't.
Not Project Crossover. I mean, but yeah, that sort of counts. What was the name of that? What was the name of that Sega fighter? It was pretty recent.
Virtual?
No, it was a Sega Capcom sort of hybrid. So I don't remember what it was. It didn't have any Sonic representation, but Green Hope was a stage.
Oh, I know. The anime one.
Yeah, the anime fighter. That narrows it down so much. Okay, yeah. But who's climaxing?
Fighting.
Kids here. But yeah, I was saying 2 franchises. No problem. How
I
about?
wanted to ask, because it's been a couple of months.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Celebrating Fashion?
Oh, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like, so, it was incredible to see that they actually did it, for one thing, but, like, the trailer itself was very, like, honest to God, like, this was always a Disney character, and the trailer was very Disney, you know, and, like, Disney things behind the doors aside, like, if there's one thing they're really good at doing is making a moment feel very magical. Just don't ask about Epcot or some other shit. But, and I felt that was a really good, like, I really liked that sort of thing. I did. Like, the music choice was perfect. It was just whimsical. Like, it was just fantastic. And obviously, like, like, despite what I may be so ambivalent against the Kingdom Hearts series, because I stopped caring about the plot line. I made that very clear. I still love the series because I love, like, it's just a really fucking phenomenal action RPG series. I will keep to saying until I died that Kingdom Hearts 2 was one of the best action RPGs ever made. And to an extent, like 3 is good too. Like I was gonna say, I want to shit on 3. 3 is a good game, not as good as 2, but it is a good game. Birth by Sleep is also great. And not for nothing, like 358 is not good gameplay wise. It has actually a good story. You know, I really liked the time spent on the organization, and it wasn't that complicated. It was just really repetitive. But it's like, I generally do, I'm a genuine Kingdom Hearts fan, I do love the series, but very casually. Don't ask me about who the hell this guy is. I don't care. Because as long as I can jump around with Disney characters and swing a key at people, I don't care. You know, but that's it. Yeah. Can we talk about that for a second? So it's like, everyone thought that it was impossible because of Disney. And then we find out in an interview, no, it was one more. Because he wasn't sure if it was going to be good for the Kingdom Hearts lore. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, who cares? Only Nomura. Like, this is both a compliment and a critique. But only Nomura would get so caught up in trying to fit Smash Brothers into the main canon. Like, dude, compromise, right? Like, people want this, and you're wondering, okay, but what was Zigmar gonna fuck this with? Like, don't worry about it. It's fine. But, like, not really. Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, I was gonna say. How's it going?
Hey, anyway,
By the way, I want to say I love like most of you are like filming your questions towards me. It's like, I want you on tape.
Anyway, in regards to the Donkey Kong 64 review that you're gonna do in the future, considering how you said you're gonna do 101 completion, and considering how tedious some of the tasks are gonna be, I have to ask, are we gonna see a return of censored mode?
Alright, so the fun thing about censored mode is that it was originally a response to YouTube pushing videos down because you swear a lot. That's why I temporarily brought it back like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And then when I realized that it wasn't working, I was like, that's fucking sucks. I got rid of it. And it originally started as a gag of me getting overly angry at something. That was back when I was still very comically loud and like trying to reach into the AVGN well. And I don't do that shit. Like, I still curse. Like, I would gladly say fuck 3 times in a sentence. Fuck. But, what? What? Your fucking mom? But, yeah, I wouldn't count something about coming back. If I gotta say fuck, I say fuck. How's it going?
Hello. I was gonna ask, when are you gonna play more Dark Souls games?
Yeah, you're coming here. So that, all right. So I'm sad to say, like we were talking about the Persona stuff earlier about how like I would do videos 9 in a row. Dark Souls, I'm not sure if I'd ever do a dedicated Soulsborne marathon because those games are all very long. But I really did enjoy my time with the first Dark Souls. Like I was genuinely surprised at how like it kicks you so hard. But it's a genuinely fun type of challenge. And I really want to like take some time at some point to sit down and play one. Elden, oh my god, I've heard nothing but great things about it. But it's like for review, like we're talking about 50, 60 hours for one game, and it's like, especially when you gotta meet deadlines. It's like, so the thing I can say about this right now is like, after this year, I will be changing a bit of how I do videos. Because the reason why I stick to the formula right now is because I got sponsored deadlines, that sort of thing. I know you guys are probably sick to fucking death about recon and search market. Maybe the occasional skill share. And hopefully, no, man skill's only one. Like that drives me nuts because there are 2 balls and I only got 1 man skill. I do those sponsorships because it guarantees that no matter what I cover, I get paid. Because right now, like I'm wrapping up the donate stuff, right? Who gives a fuck about Vex? Like, who gives a fuck about Voodoo Vince? Those videos are gonna tank viewer. Nobody cares, Vince. Those videos, view-wise, are gonna tank. But if I have a sponsor attached to them, they at least make me some money. So it lets me flex my like independency a bit. Like I don't have to stick to the Sonic well. Like, oh, the channel's dying, better do a fucking Sonic game just to keep it alive. But the thing that I've seen the most, so if you guys like watch, like, Andu, Catacris, like, Cat is probably a better example. He stopped his regular format, I think like 2 years ago. And now maybe like once a month, he does really long videos. Those do so fucking well. And I've seen it myself. Like, the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG video I did in March, and the Final Fantasy VI video I did in February, I think, are doing very, very well. Because they are long videos with a ton of viewer engagement. The 6th video especially is looking at my most watched video this year. And that's great, because I love that game. You know, I hate that people find me from the 06 video, because, you know, it's 06, and it's also like it's a long video, 53 minutes. Like, users like, just push this one out. It's like, no, I get the time travel part so wrong in that video. But, you know, it's like, no, it's Mephilus. Yeah, it's Mephilus. It's not Mephilus. It's Mephilus. Jesus fuck. Again, incompetent. But starting next year, I'm gonna obviously lay a little off of the sponsors and stuff. But I'm also thinking of starting like the YouTube channel membership thing, Patreon basically, to give myself a bit of a breather. Because I love making videos, I think, but it's really strenuous when you have to like meet deadlines all the damn time. And it forces me like, okay, I can't make this video too long because I gotta make the sponsor deadline. I'm tired of feeling like that. Like, it helps pay the bills, and I'm very grateful about that. I'm glad that I'm able to keep a roof over my head, but that shit's exhausting. So, starting next year, I'm gonna be focusing on making longer videos, but maybe not releasing them often. But I put a lot more fucking effort and quality into it because I want you guys to say, obviously. And I know some of you can't wait for that to show. And that only happens when I break 500,000, and I'm responsible for that subscriber. Thank you.
Hey there. So you were in that one Kickstarter voice acting thing. Are you still interested in voice acting in some sort of way?
Oh, you're talking about like the Chucky Chicken?
Yeah. The Kickstarter failed, but are you still interested in voice acting in some fashion?
I mean, I'm down for like broadening my horizontals, like no matter what. Like, because I've always had a fascination with voice acting, and if anything, the inspiration was Elliot.
Oh yeah.
You know, because Elliot got really hard into the VA scene, and he's also an audio junkie.
Yeah, great.
That sort of thing. So, if anything, I would like one day like ask him for some pointers and shit like that. And like, yeah, it's fun. Like, it's like, you know, I like do voices, I like do impressions, but everybody can do that sort of thing. But to like have a direction to read lines and try and make a character come to life is very fascinating.
Okay.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, they worked on my show, so it worked for you as well.
Yeah, no problem.
Also,
Appreciate it.
Okay, so regarding your provision on reviewing spin-offs, are you willing to make an exception to retroactively re-add a segment to that video on Donkey Kong Jr. Math? The reason I asked is because everybody who played GameCube Animal Crossing got blue balled by that game, okay?
It was on the writing board. Do I talk about DK Jr. Math? No. Because it requires math. And I hate math so much. No, not.
Fair.
I was wondering, are there any future YouTube collaborations you could spill the proverbial beans on?
None. That's genuine. Like, I'm not like tied to an NDA or anything like that. I don't prioritize collabs that much because I am a massive control freak, and unless I'm a really, really, really good chums with the YouTuber in general, I tend to avoid because, you know, collabs are always a tricky thing. You know, especially like, God forbid later down the road that other YouTuber does something fucky and is blacklisted off of the community for life. It's like, hey, John did a collab with this guy. Fuck, no, I didn't know anything about that. So it's I don't prioritize collabs that much anymore unless I'm really good friends. No problem.
Okay. As someone who has replayed all 6 Final Fantasy games.
All 6? What were the other ones? What was the question?
As someone who has never played more than 20 minutes of a Final Fantasy game in my life, and for those who have never really played and might be interested, ideal versions